Welcome to episode 16 of Unpopular Opinion. I'm your host, Mika Gett, joined alongside my weekly panelists of Ayush and Mr. Kyle Pucci. And we are very fortunate to be joined this week by special guest, Mr. Charlie Budd. So before we kick off a very busy show, we got, first of all, a very special segment today. 3 Up, 3 Down about the Super Bowl, sponsored by Pelger and Maz and Mr. Kyle Pucci. I got to shout him out too. Kyle created this segment. So, and then of course a returning favorite of 10 questions coming up later on the show. But as
that was also my idea.
All right, thank you, Kyle. We'll get to that. Take the credit later. But to start off the show, we are doing a giveaway today, as promised last week. We are giving away a brand new DSC-TV backpack. Beautifully equipped, still with the tag on it. It is completely brand new, never used, beautiful backpack, and it's pretty simple to enter the giveaway. All you have to do is watch this show, and at the end of the show, you're going to have to email the link up here, info@dsctv.com. And you might be asking yourself, what am I supposed to enter? I really, really want this backpack. Well, it's pretty simple. Mr. Kyle Pucci today is going to say the word tool bag, one of his favorite words in the English language dictionary. He's going to say it a certain number of times. And you at home need to remember, how many times does Kyle Pucci say the word tool bag? And in case we have a tie, which is very possible, not only will you have to email the number of times Kyle has to say the word tool bag, you also have to comment the best possible debate topic that we can debate for a future show after February break. So, for the viewers at home, to win this backpack, you need to do 2 things. Comment the amount of times Kyle Pucci says the word tool bag, and make sure to give a comment for a future show. With that all being said, let's start it off. 3 up, 3 down. Super Bowl edition, Super Bowl 55. Top 3, bottom 3, worst and best players of the game. Let's start with Mr. Kyle Pucci, who invented the show. Or not the show, the topic. Go ahead.
All right, so I'll give my first, and then you guys can go. Number 1, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is our number 1. He just influences this team like no one else. He brings so many intangibles. He was lights out from first drive on. Not first drive on. He actually went off on his first. No, he actually punted on his first drive, but then as soon as they got that ball back, it was just bombs away for the whole rest of the game. And he looked like the vintage Tom Brady, like he has, I feel like, all playoffs except for the Green Bay second half, which we already talked about, and he was tremendous.
Absolutely. Well, you need 2 more, and you need 2 more up, 2 more down. You're not going 1 by 1.
We're not going 1 by 1?
Yeah, 3 down.
All right. So number 2, I'll go the whole entire Bucs defensive line. I thought they were all over Mahomes.
Specific?
If I had to name one, I'd probably go Shaq Barrett. Okay. And because as I said last week, and when no one wanted to believe me, as usual, the biggest factor of that game was going to be the offensive line, the Chiefs, versus Tampa's defense, and they got run over all night. I thought it was maybe the biggest deciding factor in the game. Number 3 was Gronk. Gronk was great. Gronk was fantastic. Gronk looked like just the classic. And I'm just really happy he played that well in the Super Bowl. Now can we stop all this Travis Kelce talk as people think he's the greatest?
He's not even top 2.
It's ridiculous. It's so dumb. And I'll get to Travis Kelce later. But Gronk was tremendous. He looked like his old self, which we haven't seen very often this year.
All right. Well, then we can do 3 down later. Thank you, Kyle. Ayush, go ahead. 3 up.
I'm going Brady and Gronk as well for 2 of my ups. That Gronk was a good blocker that game.
I didn't even mention that.
Great. He's always been a great run blocker, but his receiving totals in the Super Bowl were much larger than they've been all regular season.
A lot of those runs too were also very. So yeah,
he's basically an extra offensive tackle out there.
Basically.
And then Brady played well as usual. He's the GOAT for a reason. He came in, did what he needed to do to win the Super Bowl. And then my other up is Devin White. The whole Bucs defense has played well. I don't know, but Devin White was everywhere. He was getting tackled for losses. He was in the backfield. He got the interception to seal the game at the end.
Guy runs a 4.4 as a
Insanely
linebacker.
fast for a linebacker. I think he's going to be the best linebacker in the league in 5 years, along with Roquan Smith.
Really? Roquan Smith?
He can
no
play.
Darius Leonard, no... Wow.
Roquan Smith can play.
Wow.
This Devin White is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's good, but
really,
Devin Bush from
He
Pittsburgh's
hits with some
underrated.
authority.
this guy is all over the
I wouldn't
place.
put Roquan Smith in that category, but I
Just
mean...
because you're a Packers
Yeah,
fan.
that's what I'm saying. But I mean, Khalil Mack's better than him, and he's on his own team.
Devin
Devin White,
5
may
years.
Devin White may have been the best defensive player of the postseason.
Like, that's a very debatable.
Debatable. All right, so is that 3? Charlie, go ahead.
All right, so I think the obvious ones are Brady, probably Gronk, but the one I think is underrated is Leonard Fournette. The Chiefs just could not tackle him, and it really just established the run game and just opened everything up for Brady. If you watch that, it would take like 3 guys to finally take him down. I mean, Ronald Jones you could lump in there too. They could not tackle anybody in the run game.
Yeah, Fournette was a bust all night.
Yeah, he didn't do that well. So I'll go with my 3 up. Obviously, I think the MVP of the Super Bowl should have been Rob Gronkowski. Did nothing. I think he had 1 catch in the Packers game the week before, and then 2 touchdowns against the Kansas City team. Fresh legs. He looked like prime Gronk, really. Maybe not prime Gronk, because I mean he could have made some other catches.
There was a couple of plays
yeah.
where Prime Gronk would have taken that to the house.
Exactly. And I absolutely agree with Ayush on Devin White for being the second one. Now, here's where we're going to get a little bit loud at the table. I think Tom Brady played very well, but he is not a top 3 player in that game because he made throws that were not that incredible.
How about
Who cares if it's
did you see-
incredible?
Oh, okay. I was
Talking about the 3 best players of the game, not the
You
players
can
that
say,
led
oh
to the
no,
win.
this guy threw a pass really well, but he lost the game. But all that matters is he threw a pass well.
Okay, so my third person was Patrick Mahomes.
Just
He
not even
had
true.
no offensive line. He had nothing.
Actually, just put him in your top.
Yes, Patrick Mahomes did everything he could to.
That is
make
not
sure-
true.
Yes, he did.
That is not true.
What else
He
could he have
missed, he
done?
missed a lot of throws
Yes, he
early,
did.
Mika. He wasn't.
Early. What about when it mattered at the end of the game?
It didn't matter
He was
at the end of the
awful.
game.
He was terrible.
It was
When
terrible.
the passes hit his receivers in the hands.
That's like 3
in the
passes
hands.
out of 50 attempts.
Okay. We talked about this last week. How many balls did the Bucks drop for Brady NFC Championship game? You didn't give him that excuse.
Yeah, but they were
Like-
outstretched arms and it hit him like this, not here.
I'm with Meek on this one.
Oh my God.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
Tyreek was drawing most of the doubles, so that leave Kelsey mostly in single coverage. Early in the game, there was a big drop by Kelsey, and he slipped and fell on a critical 3rd down, and that's just a huge momentum killer.
Yeah, like Kyle, I'm not saying that Brady was at the bottom 3, not even close. He's definitely was a top 5 or top 4 player in the game. I just think Mahomes made the throws that no other quarterback in the league could. At all. There's not a single quarterback that could have been falling halfway through, launched the ball 60, not 60, like 30 yards downfield, like pretty much halfway in the air. Who else can do that?
Probably the 2 greatest incompletions of all time.
Yeah. What are you going to say about that, Kyle?
Okay, first of all, I want to say I use mainly when he mentioned the Gronk and Brady duo, on Gronk's second touchdown, the one when he just got his feet, tremendous throw.
Yeah.
Can we all admit
That was a good throw. That was a good
insane throw.
That was a good throw.
All right, no other 43-year-old quarterback is making that throw.
Okay, also,
Kyle, there's no other 43-year-old
Mika,
quarterback that's
Mika,
ever played
when
football.
Mahomes
above
throws
40.
it when he's like parallel to the ground. The ball goes right through Devin White's hands.
What about the
That
other
should have
play?
been
All right, what about on the 4th play where there's 5 or like
one where
4
Byron
defensive
Pringle has to reach out. The ball hit the pylon before it hit his hands.
You don't understand. There's 5 Tampa Bay. The defensive line
That
was
was
so
an
good.
uncatchable ball.
Okay, so what are you going to tell me? If you have 4 defensive linemen running straight at you, 4 guys, and you're going to evade like 3 of them and then just chuck the ball up, what are you supposed to do? Hit a dart?
No, but that's
The fact that he wasn't sacked or that the ball just wasn't thrown away, now that's impressive, and that just wasn't thrown out of the end zone. It was directed at a specific receiver, and 2 of those throwaway balls hit the receivers in the hands. That's just incredible. That's all I'm trying to say. Talent-wise, Mahomes outplayed Brady. I mean, when it comes to game score, it's not even close.
Was it 495 yards that he ran trying to avoid a sack? Like,
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
that's insane numbers.
Offensive
right
line just
there.
like decided to. The offensive line was left in the hotel. And,
Okay, well, you know
team
what?
did.
For all the hype that Mahomes gets every single week, I'm tired of people making excuses for him, all right? Every time he plays well, it's all about him, and then whenever he doesn't play well, it's about how the other players didn't what? Does he need everybody exactly to play perfectly
Well, Kyle,
around him?
well, here's the perfect time to segue to the 3 worst players, because I guarantee you for the 3 worst, we're going to be naming a lot of Kansas City players. That's what I'm saying. Mahomes was the only person that actually tried in that game. Kyle, go ahead.
True.
Well, go ahead. Who are the 3 worst?
All right. As Bum mentioned earlier, Kelsey is my number 1. He was just awful in this game. He's also a complete tool, and I'll explain why. he's definitely a tool bag because he just seriously, I was bummed at that first drop. Can't drop that ball. Mahomes did make a great. You can't drop that. All right, if you're gonna catch over 120 balls in the regular season, and everyone thinks you're the best tight end, you can't drop those balls. He was awful. He's a quitter too. He's an absolute quitter. He's an absolute front runner. I can't stand him. And he just, and I'm seriously really happy Gronk played that well on the other side, so people could please cut the stupid crap on if Gronk is not better than. Give me a break. Tight end will always be Gronk. And Kelsey's just a complete quitter, and he only plays when his team is winning. And whenever he loses, that's just what he does. He drops balls and he quits and hangs his head like a baby.
So who are the two others, Kyle? Number 3, not 1.
I keep thinking.
That's why I'm hosting it, to make sure you remember.
I'm gonna go Tyreek Hill as a bias because he was also not good at this game. I think he also had 2 drops, and you know what? I'm going to go all the way back to the Week 11 regular season game when he basically, when he puts that stupid peace sign right in Winfield Jr.'s mouth. That was a great
That was
moment.
hilarious when Winfield did that to him.
Oh, it was so great. It was perfect karma. Absolutely perfect. Hill was also terrible, and he deserved it right in his face because all he did was just motivate them to get back at him. And I'm pretty sure... And clearly they had motivation on that because I bet you they were looking at that all week long in preparation and saying, we got to get this guy back.
Okay, and the third one, Kyle?
And number 3, sorry, you hate me, it's Patrick Mahomes. He was not good in this game. He missed 4 early passes that obviously I know he made some great throws. He makes a million great throws a game. Absolutely. But at the same time, he missed a lot of throws that could have changed the game. And he had a couple of opportunities to get back in it, and he couldn't do it. It was just like Rodgers when Brady threw 3 picks in the second half, and Rodgers just didn't take advantage of it.
I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, Mahomes didn't score a single touchdown in the entire game. Rodgers actually was able to.
Also, I want to give a special shout-out. I'm just going to name the Chiefs coaching staff was god-awful.
Okay, first of all, with that offensive line, Andy Reid was my number 1. He's supposed to be the offensive guru, all this and that. You have a bad offensive line. You don't run the ball at all. There's no screen passes. You're just saying, Patrick Mahomes, we're just going to put the 5 guys on the line and hope the offensive line blocks them.
To add on to your point, too, no even chips from the tight end, not from the running back
Clyde Edwards-Helaire was averaging close to 7 yards a carry, but they just didn't give him the ball.
It was just too late when they started running it.
They should have started running the ball earlier. And then Travis Kelce was my number 2. Tyreek Hill's 1 carry. That should have gone for more than 5 yards. Kelsey's 1-on-1 with the cornerback, and Kelsey just doesn't move the cornerback at all.
Oh, by the way, I'm not going to name any names, but I know some of you are going to tell me, well, Kelsey had a lot of yards in this game. We're all garbage time yards.
When the game,
exactly. They were all garbage yards when the game was over. I know a couple of you are going to come at me with that. Do not, because it is not valid. It just
Kyle does not accept his haters. It's been determined no haters for Kyle. I usually do it there.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, Kelsey he's basically a big receiver at this point.
He is. I mean, we could run half the yards. We could run half the routes that he does. We do run 10 yards off. Oh, stop!
I'm not going to say we could do that, but you can't. If you're a tight end, you can't block or move a cornerback out of the way. Tyreek Hill's one of the fastest players to open up a big play.
Oh, he's horrid at blocking.
When I saw that play, yeah.
Oh God.
I thought Gronk, dude. There was a couple years ago against a Sunday night against the Colts. Gronk drives to safety 30 yards back, and then Powell drives him out of the end zone. I don't know if you remember that. You got a flag for that, but
yeah.
What's the third?
And then my third is gonna be the Kansas City O-line.
Anyone specific?
Mike Remmers, honestly. I mean, I think it was his first game starting for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had the 2 tackles just wouldn't play.
The thing is, Mike Remmers, I think, is a right tackle, and they moved him over to the left. I also thought they put him in a terrible position to succeed. But
it also comes back to the Chiefs coaching staff for me. They did not do anything. And then the whole penalties, those were clearly penalties. I'm just I mean, maybe they didn't call them all year, but just because they didn't call them doesn't mean they're still not penalties.
I don't want to hear that the Packers one was ticky-tack, because the Packers one arguably, that was definitely not obvious. The Packers ones, the ones when the Chiefs they were just dude, stop holding their jersey for 2 seconds.
The only thing that I could debate maybe was maybe it's not pass interference, maybe it's holding or illegal contact. Maybe they should have gotten not gotten as many yards, but there still was definitely flags. I mean.
Yeah.
All right, so Charlie, who's your 3 worst?
Bottom 3, I'm going to start with the Bucks player and Mike Evans. supposed to be your top receiver, getting one catch at, was it 31 yards, 30 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like number one receiver, biggest game of the year, just really didn't show up to play. Then I'm with Ayush. I gotta go the Chiefs' offensive line and coaching staff. I mean, credits to the Bucs defense, but the offensive line was Swiss cheese. It was awful. Like, Patrick Mahomes is running everywhere. Like, give him credit having to deal with that, but. And then Andy Reid just not establishing the run game, even though Hilaire was playing really good. What was it? I used 7 yards a carry.
Close to 7 yards a carry.
If you're getting that kind of yardage, you just got to keep that going and establish it from the beginning.
Establishing the run also helps get rid of the pass pressure too, because then they don't know whether you're going to pass or run, but then they just keep passing and passing and passing.
Yeah. So going off of my 3 downs, obviously it has to be the Kansas City O-line. Like I said, they stayed in the hotel room. They didn't leave. They didn't want to leave. They liked it in Tampa. It was nice and sunny. They didn't want to go on the field. I don't blame them. Number 2, I was going to say Travis Kelce, but I just don't. He had a garbage game, but I think Andy Reid was the biggest problem that they had, the reason that he had such a bad game. And this third player actually did really well, but this third player, his name is Tyrann Mathieu. He does the one thing that you do not do as a professional NFL athlete. You do not go to Tom Brady and get in his face. So what happens when somebody goes to Michael Jordan, who's considered the greatest basketball player of all time, and piss him off?
He takes it personally.
So when a new documentary comes out called The 7 Rings about Tom Brady, guess what it's going to be in there? And I took it personally and then did you see after that Tyrann Mathieu went on Twitter?
You're so right.
And he went,
I
don't know how you guys didn't mention that. I think he could have easily been the biggest reason that they lost, because he just pissed off. Nobody pisses off Brady.
That's a great one.
Andy Reid, every time in big games, this seems to happen with him.
Yeah.
He does these stupid mistakes. Like, in big games when it matters most, Andy Reid does something stupid. Last year in the Super Bowl, he got bailed up by Patrick Mahomes and that talent of the team.
He also got bailed out. The Garoppolo missed an open Sanders running downfield. The 49ers should have won that game. Andy Reid is a great coach
and everything, but
Charlie's a 49ers fan, by the way.
I'm defending your team.
So, like, every single year in the big games, you can go back to Super Bowl in 2004 against the Patriots. He has horrible management of the time to end the game, which cost the Eagles that Super Bowl. It happens every single time when he's in a big game.
I'd like to add on to some of what Andy Reid, what all you guys said. Like, do these coaches just not watch game film? Like at the end of half, why are you giving Tom Brady not 1 but 2 timeouts? Yeah. Did they watch the NFC Championship game?
And the clear pass interference. They shook Mike Evans.
Did they see anything?
Don't get me started at the end of the half when Andy Reid was calling timeouts.
You've got to be.
I had that score in my squares pool, and the time should have ran out, but no, you have to give Tom Brady all the time in the world.
His clock management in
seriously games. Everybody knew what was coming. He is going to take a shot downfield, and he doesn't even leave a safety over to like Green Bay.
Let me make a great example. So in the Packers-Rams game, the Devontae Adams motion in and then sprints out and then just gets right in front of Jalen Ramsey and gets that wide open touchdown. It was a beautiful play designed by LaFleur. Does it the exact same play the next week. Tampa Bay not only has it covered, they're literally, Rodgers had a guy going right at him and a guy right on tape, so they just threw it away. Yeah. Next week later, Super Bowl. They do one thing against the Packers, the Buccaneers do. Same thing against the Chiefs, and Andy Reid just didn't watch game film.
It's just, I don't know what these guys are looking at.
He probably was watching the Patriots film from 2001.
He probably was.
He probably was.
Seriously, I was like, oh my God, you've got to be, here comes at least 3 points when he calls that first time out. Seriously, Brady for 20 years has always taken the shot downfield. It doesn't take a genius seriously, these guys make me think that we can all get jobs. Because that's just
it's possible.
I think everybody knew what to do, literally except him. It's oh my God.
I don't blame the Chiefs cornerback for tripping up Mike Evans, because that was a touchdown if he didn't.
Oh, it wasn't. No, it was a good PI because it was a touchdown.
You can't leave him single coverage on Mike Evans that time.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on to basketball, because we spent a lot of time going on that 3 up, 3 down. So for this question for basketball, we'll get back to 10 questions, which is all recap of the NFL season. But for basketball, we're going to be doing what is the best team in the NBA, and if you want, you can say is the best player in the NBA on that
Luka
team.
is the best player in the NBA.
Charlie, you started off. Who's the best team and who's the
He
best
doesn't even
player?
believe that.
Luka.
He's just oh
Look
my
at the
God.
stats he puts up, and look at his surrounding cast. Porzingis cannot stay healthy, so inconsistent
That's
with
not what I
staying in the
was going
field.
for.
What's the
And
record,
what we say
Bob?
is third best player is Tim Hardaway.
Tim
What's the
Hardaway.
record?
But he went 0 for 11 one game as the third best player in a team, and Luka is still putting up the numbers he is. It's just ridiculous that they're even.
What's the Mavericks record? Can you answer the question?
It's amazing that they even made the playoffs last year with that team. With
What?
Luka.
Well, Charlie, is that the best team in basketball? That was my question.
Oh, not the best team in basketball. Just had to tell Poochie that Luke is the best player.
Yeah, whatever. Close your ears.
But
That's all a
best
bunch
team-
of Mike. You might want to edit that out. That's a bunch of bull crap.
But best team, I have to go with the Clippers. Kawhi when Kawhi wants to be Kawhi, he's dominant. Paul George in the bubble, he got a bad rep, but like he said that he just wasn't in the best mental state, and now PG is back, and I think they're gonna dominate when the playoffs come.
Maybe. All right, Ayush, what do you think? Best team?
Are we going best player too?
No, just best team. Unless the best player plays on that team.
Or if his name's Luka.
Well, I mean, obviously Luka has to be up there. For best player, for like this year, the best player in the league, I'm going Nikola Jokic.
That was not the question. What is the best team? That's all I want to know.
Okay, at least
my pick
I
to win-
twist the question the right way.
My pick
unlike
to
you
win the
guys.
finals is still the same. My pick is still the Boston Celtics.
So that's the best team
I'm
in
not
the
gonna-
NBA.
I would take. I think when the playoffs come, they'll
I'm
be
talking
ready.
about right.
Dude,
Ayush, we're
what
talking about
possibly
right
makes you think they're the
now.
best
Kyle,
team?
who's your best team in the NBA?
No, let him finish.
All right,
let him
fine,
finish.
I mean, Kemba Walker, I think is going to be back on the bench by the end of the year. I don't think there's any debating that.
Or off the team?
Yeah, or I hope we trade him at this point, honestly. That Dalen Tice, if he gets packaged, I wouldn't mind either. But
Maybe for Miles Turner? I wouldn't mind.
We could have had him. We could have had him, like Mika says.
I think if Brad Stevens can realize that Robert Williams is actually a good rim protector and plays him more, I'd appreciate that too. Pritchard needs to play more. I mean, once we get Smart back, it should help our defense. I think it will help our defense. And then Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum if they just have to keep doing what they're doing.
Kyle, what do you think?
So I went from wanting to punch Bum immediately in the face to just completely agreeing with him in the same like 5 seconds. I agree with him. I think the Clippers are the best team in the
I thought you
league.
meant about Luka Doncic. I was going, what?
I think I wanted to punch him, but that's not the point. The Clippers, I think, are the best team because, like Bum said, Kawhi, whenever he turns it on, it's like Thanos. He just snaps his fingers, and just dominant. All right, Now they have better role players on the team too. Their locker room last year was extremely toxic, as you guys remember, as Montrezl Harrell, a complete baby and a snake. By the way, Harrell, for going to the Lakers, you're such a snake. It's just like they would have beat the Lakers last year if it were a normal year. Lakers got lucky that they went out, because I hate to say it. The reason they blew the 3-1 lead to Denver last year is because they were looking ahead to the Lakers the entire time. They went up by double digits. They said, all right, bring on the Lakers, and then they just never finished out those games. Clippers would have mopped the floor with them last year. Shittick and Teach, both of you close your ears because you're going to hate hearing that. And I think the Clippers will win the NBA championship this year.
Well, I'm going to have to come to defendant of one of those two people that you just mentioned, Mr. Pucci. I think that we had a debate a couple months back now about the LeBron James versus Michael Jordan debate for the greatest basketball player of all time. And one of them is still in the NBA. And he is...
The other one's 50-something.
No, that's what I'm trying to say is one of the greatest players that's ever played basketball is playing basketball right now. That's all I'm trying to say. And if you don't think that the Lakers are the best team in basketball, then you do not. They're the champs for a reason. They won the championship. The Clippers haven't made it past. They haven't even made it ever a conference semi.
Wait, hold up a second.
Game.
You just gave Ayush crap for saying right now.
Yeah.
Lakers are the best team right now.
Yes, they're the second best team record-wise in the
Look
West.
at some of their game results that they've had. They've gone into like double overtime against these awful teams like the Pistons.
I absolutely agree, but I trust LeBron more than I trust anybody else.
Special
in the NBA.
shout out just for the LeBron Bobos out there. Anthony Davis immediately goes out with an injury. LeBron misses game winners in back-to-back games. That's your GOAT, right?
Just Anthony Davis has honestly made more. Is probably their
Anthony Davis, the best player and impactor on the Lakers, not LeBron James. He was the reason they won the championship last year, but no one wants to admit it because everyone loves LeBron.
I agree with Kyle.
Well,
I'm with Kyle.
Okay.
Thank you, Bum. Thank you.
No, I kind of do agree with. I think we have our first unison agreement. I don't like LeBron. I'm just saying I think the Lakers are the best team in
No
basketball.
one wants to admit it.
The only reason they beat the Celtics was Robert Williams and Dalen Tice decided to make buckets on their own basket. Like,
All right, then why did the Celtics lose to the what's it called? The Detroit.
They just haven't been very good lately. There's the answer.
the Lakers also went to double overtime against the Pistons. All right, like it's not act like the Lakers
on.
did better against them.
Oh yeah, I mean, like Kyle said, the Clippers just closed their eyes and they didn't care in the last year's play. So you're telling me when the Lakers play a garbage team, they're gonna go full play LeBron like?
Saying the
15
bubble screwed a lot of teams last year.
absolutely.
They screwed the Bucks. They absolutely screwed the Clippers.
Yeah.
I don't think it screwed the Bucks.
I don't
They
think
screwed the Bucks.
The Bucks would have done.
Dude, they won.
Look at the Heat this year. Like, they're not as that
Guys,
good.
come on. The Heat, the bubble inflated teams and then it deflated teams. The Bucks are on pace for 70 wins before the thing started. I think they won like 10 straight or something.
Yeah,
There's no way the Heat make the finals without having home court advantage.
I think that the Celtics at home. I think the Raptors might have honestly had a shot.
Yeah, it's the Raptors.
I think the Raptors would have beaten the Celtics in the second round if there's home court advantage.
I agree with you on. I completely
Raptors versus
agree.
Bucks would have been a good matchup.
I still don't think the Bucks would have been.
Just the Clippers got screwed last year by the bubble, and the Lakers had the easiest path to the finals ever, and no one. And I'm not here to debate that because it's just true.
All right, well, guess what we're doing now? We're doing 10 questions. We're going to do rapid questions, 10 questions. I ain't here to listen to your arguments. I'm just counting the amount of times Kyle says the word tool bag. That's all I care about. All right, first question. All NFL, we're recapping the NFL season. Which player surprised you the most this season? Ayush, go ahead.
I'm going with two rookies, Herbert and Jefferson. I thought CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy be by far the best receivers from this draft class. I wasn't even considering Justin Jefferson, and he comes out and drops 1,400 yards. He didn't even start the first 2 games of the season. His season was unexpected and really good. And then Herbert, I thought was going to be a bust. Coming out of, I thought he would be worse than Tua. Obviously I was wrong about that. And Herbert came out is probably the best quarterback from this draft, depending on what Burrow does with an actual team. But
Absolutely. Charlie, what do you think?
I have to go with Josh Allen. Guy's an absolute beast. Improved his completion percentage by around 10%. I've always been a big fan. He's always going 100%, but this year he could actually throw the football. Just love to see it. Also, was huge carry on my fantasy team.
Awesome. Kyle, what do you think?
I was gonna go Josh Allen, but Bum took it, so I'll go someone on his. I'm gonna go Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is a great player. We know that. We know how good of a receiver he is, but he came in and led the league in almost every category for receivers, and just the way he played, I thought he had a big influence on Josh Allen. I thought he really helped him a lot this year, and just the fact that he made them a new level. He made them 13-3. AFC, I don't give them a lot of blame for losing at Kansas City. It's just tough to win, and I just thought I thought he was amazing, and he just made such a big impact on that team.
All right, well, mine's a little bit not full season surprising. My surprising player is just for one game, who had one game that will be forever remembered. This man goes by the name of Taylor Heineke.
Seriously?
Hey, he played the best against the Bucks defense than any other quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers.
One game,
No,
dude,
look at the stats.
Heineke did. I'm just saying. You said we're not saying the best picks. The question says which player surprised you the most. What were your expectations for Taylor Heineke going into that game?
That's not much, yeah.
Exactly. Based on that question, Josh Allen had some expectations. Stephon Diggs is a pretty good player. Who'd you say?
Jefferson and Herbert.
At least they had one of them won a championship. One of them was a good. What was Taylor Heineke's expectations? Go find a job on LinkedIn. All right, next question. What was the most disappointing player? Kyle, go ahead.
So this is definitely a biased pick. I'm gonna go name a Patriots tight end for most disappointing players.
If you're going for Patriots, I'm going
Literally, just write in any Patriots tight end you want. None of them can block. They can't catch the ball. They can't run routes. And they're just their tight ends are horrendous.
Absolutely.
All of them are awful.
Charlie, go ahead.
Staying on the Patriots theme, I have to go with Cam Newton.
I thought about him.
He had multiple games under 100 passing yards, which is just embarrassing. No one expected his former MVP self, but wow, it was painful to watch him play.
So much talk before the year too. They gave up on me. He was just awful. Terrible.
I was thinking about Newton too, but I didn't want to go back there. I'm going Ezekiel Elliott.
Good one.
That's a good one.
Did he get paid last offseason, or he gets paid huge money I think
he got paid before this season.
I think it was the highest paid running back at the time before McCaffrey got his deal. I mean, he comes off and he was fumbling. I think he had 2 fumbles or a game at one point. I mean, he was awful without Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith. Like, if he needs a top 5 offensive line to put up numbers, and I don't know why he's getting paid that much. Jerry Jones just wasted a ton of money on him.
Mika, can I add on a point just before you go?
Make it quick, Kyle.
I'll make it quick. When people say that Dak Prescott's a product of Ezekiel Elliott, I think now it's fair to say that maybe Ezekiel Elliott was good because of Prescott.
I think it's more offensive line.
Maybe. All right, well, so for my most disappointing player, I'm very biased on this one because of my favorite team in the NFL. The most disappointing player was the person that won the Super Bowl MVP 3 years ago, Mr. Nick Foles. Came over to Chicago, not the savior of quarterbacks, but at least they were going to do something in the playoffs. Mitch Trubisky did better than him. Now that says something about the player. When Nick Foles does worse than Mitchell Trubisky, and they're literally looking at Carson Wentz to replace both of them, yikes.
You know, if you remember, Foles was supposed to be the starter, and he got beat out by Trubisky.
Trubisky's played. I think Trubisky, with a good system, the right head coach, could be an okay quarterback.
You're right. He'd do really good right now in the, I think it's the college football? Yeah. So, question number 3. Going off of my goat, Taylor Heineke, the question is the Washington football team a quarterback away from being a contender? Ayush, go ahead.
Yes, last week I said that I thought they'd be better than the Rams next year, and I think it's true. That defense is only going to get better. I mean, Chase Young, they have a really good leader in Ryan Kerrigan. He's been a Pro Bowler for a long time. That offense gets another receiver behind Tyreek McLaurin. Logan Thomas is a good tight end. Antonio Gibson's a decent running back. It's a young team. All they need is a quarterback that can actually make throws. I think that team would be a real contender, maybe like maybe maximum a 12-win team.
Charles?
No chance. Look at the division they're in and look how many wins they got. They are so far away from being competitive. So far. And Alex Smith, not the worst quarterback when he was in there, although he's dealing with some injuries and coming back. I think he'll be better even next year with a whole season after recovery. And even then, just absolutely no chance, though.
Not Charlie. Kyle, what do you think?
You know, I'm not going to say they're going to be an instant contender, but I think they will be definitely closer to contention. And I disagree with you on one thing because I know they had a bad record, but it's also because they had awful quarterback play
Dwayne
Haskins and Kyle Allen, who also wasn't good. Then they got Alex Smith back, and all of a sudden they actually looked like a pretty good football team. When they had Alex Smith, I think they were 7-1 or so. They were good.
I like Alex Smith. They're good. They're going to need a better quarterback than Alex Smith, though, if they want to win.
Smith is only going to take you so far, and he's not going to make the plays that are going to win you a game. But he will
take you to the wild card divisional round. But after that,
exactly. They are actually a good football team under Alex Smith.
Well, here's the thing. I think that Alex Smith as a starter and Heineke as a backup is actually not that bad of especially compared to some other quarterbacks in the league. I think they just need another piece just on the team, especially in the secondary. They got toasted by Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Absolutely burnt toast. All right, next question. And this one, please be quick because this is a very non-controversial, maybe a little controversial. If Bill Belichick has another bad season next year in New England, is he on the hot seat? Kyle, go ahead.
Yes, he should be on the hot seat. If he goes 7-9 again and completely just half-wangs free agency the way he did this year, and just doesn't pick up seriously, he picked Cam Newton up off the street and there were so many quarterbacks available, and he picks up the corpse of Cam Newton at the end of free agency. It was just awful. And seriously, the amount of times that Bill thinks, it's pretty clear he thinks he was the reason for the Patriots dynasty, and if you suck 2 years in a row, for any coach, if you suck for 2 straight years, your job should be hot.
All right, Ayush, what do you think?
I'm going to say no, depending on what happens this offseason. If, as Kyle says, we don't do anything this offseason, I don't think he'll be on the hot seat. I think he should be stripped of his general manager role. I think we should hire a general manager if we don't do anything this offseason. We need a quarterback. We need help on the linebackers. DeJuan Bentley should be a practice squad player at this point. He's not our number one.
Yeah, he's an awful. He can't play. He's terrible.
But I think 7-9 with the team we had last year was an overachievement. Talent-wise, we were probably one of the least talented teams in the league. You give that to any other coach, it's probably a 3-13, 2-14 team. We were lucky to even be in the playoff race towards the end of the season. I think if Bill goes and gets him a team that can actually compete, we should be back in the playoffs by next year.
Charlie?
I think he should be in the hot seat, but as long as Kraft is there, there's no chance they'll get rid of Bill after all the success he brought the Patriots. But
exactly, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. All right, Kyle, we're on to our 5th question. Your favorite question, but I'm gonna shut up because remember, we're doing a giveaway based on what you say. So, and only by the way to clarify, because if I say the word tool bag, I use Charlie. Doesn't matter. It has to be the full word tool bag, not tool. It has to be the full word tool bag said by Mr. Kyle Pucci. Kyle, go ahead.
All right. Best question, tool bag question. All right, so I'm not going to go Doug Peterson because I've named him every single time we've done this question, even though he deserves a special shout out for what happened in the last regular season game. So my tool bag is going to be name a Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver as my tool bag. Juju's an absolute clown and a complete loser. So is Chase Claypool. Both are just enormous tool bags with their stupid TikToks and dancing logos. Like, I don't know who Juju Smith-Schuster is to be dancing on logos before games. Like, seriously, does he think he's some top 5 receiver ever or something like that? You know the guy hasn't had a 100-yard game since Antonio Brown left?
I think his first was against Cleveland.
It was. I'm sorry, there were empty calorie yards. They were down by 1,000 points, and they weren't in that game. And Chase Claypool is just walking around like he's the greatest rookie receiver of all time. And
honestly,
then going and saying,
the 4-touchdown game, he did not do much.
And also, he said, if the Browns won with more class, I wouldn't have been so salty. Who do you think you are? You're on the Steelers, and you are on the team of Mr. Unprofessional. Almost everyone on the Steelers is so unprofessional, and the fact that he said that literally made me spit my water out of my cup when I was drinking it.
Very good, Kyle. Next, Charlie, what do you think?
We already touched upon it, but I gotta go Tyrann Mathieu. Chirping Tom Brady. And then going on Twitter and saying that Tom Brady called you something you won't repeat, then realizing Brady was mic'd up and then deleting the tweet. This makes you look so bad. And it's just not even a debate, Tyrann Mathieu.
Also for chirping him literally right after he gave up a touchdown. Just that, too.
Then Brady throwing a touchdown on his head the next possession.
Ayush, what do you think?
I'm going Michael Thomas. Just because he should be a top 3 receiver in this league. I mean, he gets suspended for punching a teammate for calling him slant boy. Him and Kamara are basically that team right now with Breeze playing like he is. To come out and just do that hurts their team a lot. And then, I mean, in the playoffs, I don't think that he was the same player. And then he just didn't play at all most of the year. He was injured. It just was more of an off-field factor than an on-field factor.
All right, well, for my tool bag question, remember, if I say tool bag, it don't matter. It's only when Kyle says it. So for my player, it's not really a player. It's more of a player friend. So the entire nation, when they were watching the Super Bowl, rooted for the Kansas City Chiefs against them for a specific reason. For the brother of Patrick Mahomes, Mr. Jackson Mahomes. He is definitely, I know he doesn't play football, but I think he made himself more famous than a lot of the football players in the NFL. Because what he did, during the AFC Championship game, he went on TikTok, and you were talking on TikTok, and you were talking
Way to go, Mika. Great choice.
In one shot. That's pretty impressive. 3 fist bumps in one.
That's tremendous pick.
I mean, you made the entire nation of America vote for Tom Brady. Do you understand what you did? No wonder the Chiefs got hammered. I mean, come on. What do you do? I mean, just make the entire nation more mad than just go say, my brother's the best basketball player.
They really made the Chiefs so hateable that they were rooting for Tom Brady in a Super Bowl.
Free tickets, like free box seat tickets to the AFC Championship game, and he's making TikToks.
I mean, please, just shut your mouth.
You know how many
people
would kill for those tickets, and you're just going making TikToks for no reason?
Exactly.
All right, Kyle, send us to the next question while ending up this final segment, because this might be the last time we talk about tool bags for NFL season.
Oh, it could be. Well,
time for the next question.
Time for the next question.
All right. Question is, can the Bucks repeat? Ayush?
Yes, they can. They have Brady, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Good answer. Charlie?
I think they can, but their defense has to be as good as it was in the Super Bowl for that to happen. The offense we know is going to be good with all those weapons, but the defense has to keep performing.
Kyle?
Absolutely, they can repeat. Mike Evans also said take some of my money if they need to keep the team together. So he's already becoming a winning player despite getting so much money, and they're going to try to keep the team together. And I believe that Brady has just made the everlasting effect of that Super Bowl, and I believe they now know what it takes to win. I think absolutely, if they repeat next year, won't be shocked at all.
All right, so I think they could repeat, of course. I just think it's almost impossible. I think they win that division. I actually think because the Saints are not going to look the same next year.
No.
I think they're going to win the NFC South. I just think that the NFC West, I think that when Tom Brady came to Tampa Bay, that just became such a big hotspot for everybody. That's now Matthew Stafford in Los Angeles. I didn't support you as much on the last show when you said who won that trade. It was the Rams. It was the Rams.
Thank you. Hey, Mason, are you hearing that?
It was not.
I'm just saying, you will see a lot of people coming over to LA to play on the Rams with Matthew Stafford. That team, San Francisco, getting healthy. That's huge. Seattle, always in contention. Arizona, definitely going to take a step forward. Green Bay, you know they're going to be up there.
No.
Don't forget, Brady probably could have won back-to-back Super Bowls if it weren't for Mr. Look at Me Bill benching Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl.
All right, next question.
I don't think we got.
Next question. This is 10 question, not 14. Next question. Can Aaron Rodgers win another ring? Charlie, go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers, no chance. I won't even give any evidence because it's just obvious.
Kyle?
No, he can't win another ring. I don't believe he'll ever. Aaron Rodgers had a great year this year. I don't believe he's ever gonna, it's not an insult to not throw 50 touchdowns again. It's just like they really should have cashed in this year because I believe that was their peak.
Ayush?
Yes, if he leaves the Green Bay Packers. No, he's not winning one with the Green Bay Packers.
I'm going to say he wins 2 rings. One with the Packers and one without.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think he does win one without the Packers.
How long has he been played so far?
Okay, that is the worst take in Unpopular Opinion in all 16 years.
Aaron Rodgers has one
It was
ring.
called Unpopular Opinion, but damn.
That was
one ring in 15 years, and all of a sudden he's gonna go win 2 in his last 5.
I mean, if you put him on a team like, let's say,
He
the
had
Colts,
the team this year. His team was good enough. Home field advantage. He just missed the opportunity.
I'm just saying, I have faith in Rodgers. He's a top 3 quarterback, and he's going to be a top 3 quarterback for the next 3 years.
Not with the Packers.
All right, all right, that wasn't the point. Next question. Speaking of quarterbacks, do the 49ers need a quarterback to be competitive? Kyle?
Yes. Move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. Get another quarterback, please, because Garoppolo's holding that team back. The only reason they didn't win last year against the Chiefs, they need a new guy because their talent around them is so tremendous. They can get a good quarterback, they're winning.
Ayush?
Garoppolo's not going to make the plays necessary to win a Super Bowl. I mean, the playoffs last year, he's only throwing the ball like 6 or 7 times a game.
Yeah.
That run game carried them, and then Kansas City was able to stop that, and that ultimately cost them.
The 49ers fanatic himself?
Okay. Their run game is so dominant, you don't need to be paying a guy that much money just to hand the ball off. Like, you don't need another Ryan Tannehill in the league on the Niners. We just need a guy when the run game opens up the passing game to make the plays, and Garoppolo just can't do that, and he's getting paid way too much money and just holding the team back so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree that I think that the Niners have very, very good potential in the future. They just need to get a good quarterback. So I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is a Walmart version of Kirk Cousins.
I agree.
He kind of
with
is.
that.
It's just Kirk Cousins a little bit lower. All right, next question. 2 questions left. What team should go for Deshaun Watson if he becomes available, if the Texans release him? By the way, before we start this question, I'm going to add on a second part. J.J. Watt, where is he going to go? Where is Watson going to go? Where is Watt going to go? Because, by the way, J.J. Watt was released today after he made a statement on Instagram after a mutual agreement with the owner, with the McNair family. Kyle, go ahead.
Oh, so you want where should he go? Oh, so where should he go? I think he should either, obviously, I feel like he should, since I'm biased and a stubborn horse's A-word, I'm going to say he should go to Tampa to win a ring and ring chase, but I believe he will, or the Packers because they're in win now mode, but I believe he's going to go to the Steelers. I think it makes way too much sense for him to, go there. Both of his brothers are there. Like, why would he not want to play with them? He'd make that defense insane. I believe he's going to go to Pittsburgh.
And Deshaun Watson?
Oh, Deshaun Watson. So I'll refer back to the last question. He should want to go to San Francisco. Okay, that would be amazing with Kyle Shanahan and all those weapons. And instant contender if he goes there. Instant.
Charlie?
For Deshaun Watson, if the Dolphins trade Tua and get Deshaun, I think Dolphins win the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Dolphins getting
that's a bold take.
Dolphins got 10 wins with Tua, who's not very good, and Fitzmagic, who's 38. Like with Deshaun Watson, who's arguably like top 3 talented quarterback in the league right now, with that defense and a very solid offense already in place, I think they win it.
And JJ Watt?
JJ Watt. Not really sure the exact team, but he's 100% going to go to contender. So
absolutely.
Maybe if the Chiefs could sign him, I doubt they have that room. And then Bucks, Packers, any of those teams.
Ayush?
I think JJ Watt's also going to go to Pittsburgh. I mean, I don't think this is his best chance to play with both of his brothers. I mean, I think he values family a lot too, so that should definitely be the front runner. Green Bay maybe is obviously another place just because they're in win now mode. For Deshaun Watson, I feel like Indy would be a great spot for him, but they're not going to trade him to a division rival. Yeah. I feel like Pittsburgh could also be a great place for Deshaun Watson. Pittsburgh also has the things they could trade for him. I mean, their pass rushers they have they're basically can give away two of them, not really suffer any losses.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we get it, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so my pick, I have JJ Watt going to the Green Bay Packers because they're in win now mode. They're 26 million under the cap. Got to get rid of some players, but I mean that's his home state. There's a reason that he wants to go back there. I do agree he might want to play with his brothers, but I know he loves the Packers. Grew up a Reggie White fanatic. And for I don't have a Deshaun Watson jersey. I absolutely agree with Charlie. He's going to Miami. I hope he does. I just don't think that team goes to the Super Bowl.
I think they're going to trade him to Miami. They're going to stick with Tua.
Maybe. All right, last question because the show's been going on for quite some time now. Last question. Should Russell Wilson request a trade out of Seattle? Charlie, go ahead.
Russell Wilson, I do not think he should request a trade. First 6 games, I think it was, he was absolutely balling, and then he just fell off a cliff. And if he can get 90% of that play throughout the season, I think they're back in the Super Bowl conversation and get a little more pieces around him, improve that defense, and I don't see why not.
Kyle, what do you think?
Yes, he should request a trade. I think that Russell Wilson's been the only reason why Seahawks are even like back when they lost Chancellor and Sherman and all those guys, he's been the only reason that they've actually been a relevant team for the past couple of years. And he's just and as soon as Wilson falls off, he's not that team is just not relevant if he's not good. And his offensive line protection has just been horrid for so many years. And if he goes to an actual team with an offensive line, that team is it's also an instant contender.
Ayush, what do you think?
I don't think he showed that he's been supplied with weapons. He said Golden Tate, Doug Baldwin, Percy Harvin. Now he's DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He has a good running game with Chris Carson. I don't know. He just needs to he gets tired out way too quickly in the season. He's asked to do too much, in my opinion. They should use Chris Carson more. But I think he should give it 1 or 2 more years before he thinks seriously about requesting a trade.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys at home for tuning in. Before I wrap up, this beautiful backpack again, the number of times Kyle Pucci can say the word tool bag has been closed. I have a number written down and everything. So remember, the full word tool bag said by Kyle Pucci, because I remember he said the word tool, that did not count, and it didn't say by me or by you. Just making sure. And remember, to qualify, email the link, info@dsctv.com with the amount of times he said it and a topic that you want us to discuss on a future show. For a new, beautiful DSCTV backpack. Be the coolest kid in Dover Sherburne High School. DSCTV. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 16 of Unpopular Opinion. Thank you to Mr. Charlie Budd for being a special guest today. We had a lot of fun. Have a great February break. We'll be back here in 2 weeks for another special edition of Unpopular Opinion. Enjoy your February break, everybody. I'm Mika Gatt. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Thank you.